Hello everyone. So usually I talk about Ireland on this channel a lot. It's basically the main thing I talk about. But I want to talk internationally for a second because it does affect everyone. And that is particularly what happened in Venezuela and particularly with Greenland at the moment. We talk about it, and I know as an Irish person, I suppose it's not my business, but I just want to give you my view on it. Because I think we should have a discussion, as especially small countries too, because it is worrying for small countries that, and especially with the environment at the moment in terms of Russia, what Russia done in Ukraine, and in other countries, you see China, what they're doing in Taiwan. We see a lot of saber rattling at the moment, and the United States is doing it, Greenland and Denmark at the moment. Now, obviously, Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro was like a dictator. He treated these people rotten, and he was an evil person that basically stayed in power by rigged elections, etc. He was an evil man, and the world is a lot better place without him as leader of Venezuela, I'm sure, and I hope the people of Venezuela are a bit better off without him. And hopefully, like Donald Trump definitely broke international law by doing what he did, but I hope the people of Venezuela, some benefit comes to them, because at the end of the day, it's up to the people of Venezuela I'm more worried about than anything else. So hopefully they can be a lot more wealthier and a lot more happier too, and a lot more, and hopefully free elections, etc., for people to freely express their opinion, freely express their belief, etc. Hopefully that happens. We see what happens, but I suppose we don't know. But particularly I want to just talk about Greenland too. And of course, as a small nation like Ireland here, obviously a neutral country too, it's very worrying that, because there has to be rules. And again, as I said with Donald Trump, he definitely broke some international laws. Not even, he should have went to Congress and stuff to get approval, but that's a different story. That's the United States issue, but I'm talking about internationally. There has to be some kind of rules in the world, for like a rule-based order system, I suppose, in that kind of regard. I know that sounds like a World Economic Forum term, but there has to be some kind of legislation in the world, like the main thing on human rights, and of course, not to invade your neighbour and stuff, not to attack your neighbour. And I'm talking about Denmark too, or even threaten your neighbour, with saber rattling, etc. And we see that with Russia and Ukraine. Russia invaded their neighbour, Ukraine, and again, of course, against international law. And we see this across the world too. Rules have been broken by superpowers, and for small countries it's very worrying. That's my point. Like, Russia is a huge country, the United States is a huge country, big military industrial complexes. For small countries like Ireland, we rely on the rule-based order. What I mean by that is too, that there is rules in the world and rules are respected. Because unfortunately nowadays that's all gone to the dogs. It's basically non-existent, rule-based order. But it's worrying. It is worrying for a small country like Ireland. It's very, very worrying. And especially Ireland has been a huge proponent of peace. And that's the main goal of every Irish citizen, for peace in the world and understanding in the world. And we hope in 2036 that please God that some end to the conflicts in the world will happen. Please God, peaceful means, of course. But as I said about Greenland too, I don't think it's right for any country to say I want this piece of land. I don't think it's right. Nobody has any claim, and nobody should have any claim on anybody else's land and saying give this to me, or I threaten military action or saber rattling, as I said. But it's not right what the United States is doing. As I say, in a democracy, you ask the people what they want, particularly in Greenland. You can't just say give me this land, and that's as simple as that. You can't do that. You shouldn't be able to do it. No country should do it, regardless of who you are. And again, this is what I'm saying, but like bigger countries putting their weight on smaller countries, etc. And I know Donald Trump says, I need it for national security and stuff, but it's up to the people of Greenland. Greenland belongs to the Greenlandic people. Same as the United States belongs to the people of the United States. As simple as that. No one has claims in anybody else's country. And that's what we need to understand too in the world too, that it belongs to the Greenlandic people, and the people of Greenland have the ultimate choice who they want to go, or do they want their own future, do they want to stay with Denmark. It's, as I say, it should go to the people of Greenland to decide their future, because it's their future. It's not my future, it's not your future, it's the 56,000 people that's in Greenland. It's their future, what they want, what they see for their future, and I think that's something we have to look at too. But it is worrying them things, and we see the increase in conflicts around the world, etc. It's very, very worrying, and we've seen recently enough too what happened in Israel and Gaza, the crimes committed there on all sides pretty much. And the sheer amount of people killed, and innocent people in a lot of cases too. There has to be rules in the world. What I mean by that is, because it can happen anywhere else, and especially when we see this, the League of Nations, say for example, was set up to stop wars from happening after the First World War, to get countries to negotiate, understand each other, and of course that didn't work out because basically nobody was willing to stand on their values and stand up for what was right in the world. Because even as a neutral country, we do have a voice. We have a duty as Christians to stand up and say, what's happened here is not right. Because Ireland has experienced pain and suffering for hundreds and hundreds of years. We went through famine. We went through genocide. We know all about it. And we experienced occupation. And we experienced oppression. Ireland understands better nearly than any country on that. But it's any country, even as a neutral country, we have more of an obligation to speak out and to be counted, because we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to humanity to speak out, even as a neutral country and as a small country. I know people say it's not our business, but it's our duty as Christians to speak out when we see wrong in the world, when we see evil in the world, when we see things that are not right. It's our duty, and that's Ireland's role. But as I say, the League of Nations didn't succeed. But as I say, the United Nations now is a joke really in a way too. But I only hope that in the year to come that we see less of this, we see less wars, we see less conflicts, we see a lot less saber-rattling, because it's very worrying, especially as is mentioned about China and Taiwan and stuff. It's very worrying, that situation. And of course in the Philippine Sea too, and the islands owned by the Philippines, that the Chinese Coast Guards are ramming their ships, etc. It's worrying stuff around the world. What I mean by that is there needs to be kind of a rule-based order in terms that the rulers of humanity stand. Because again, it is worrying for so small countries like Ireland and other small countries. Other countries can basically use their might to basically control other countries, and that shouldn't happen. It's all about respecting people's sovereignty and about independence. And as the people like this, that small nations might be free, and that's the thing I keep going on about. Small nations might be free. That's obviously when Ireland was fighting for its independence, that the belief that any small nation could be free, in terms of Ireland being a small country, that we had the right to our freedom the same as any other small nation, and small nations have a right to be free and a right to be sovereign, and not to live in fear. And I think that's an important thing, and I think that's what should drive us too in this country, in Ireland. But it is worrying to see, and the international situation. And as I say, but the Greenland situation, I just want to talk about that and sum up the Venezuelan. I hope that the people of Venezuela will have a better future, hopefully. But as I say, the Greenland situation, we see what happens. But as I say, it's up to the people of Greenland. Hopefully there'll be no military action or anything, because it is up to the people of Greenland to decide their future. No one else, nobody else. It's not an Irish person, not an American, not anybody else. It's their future, and it's their freedom, it's their democracy, it's their rights, it's their beliefs. What matters? That's all that matters. Not what any Irish person or anybody else thinks. But that's, as long as that's respected. That's the main thing. But anyway, let me know what you think. As I say, I wanted just to talk, because this is worrying. And I know people say you're left wing or whatever you want to call people that, but there has to be rules in the world. There has to be some kind of underlying rules in the world. The same as the commandments in the Bible, take for example. There has to be some kind of rules that everybody agrees on, and that's been put in the Charter of the United Nations. And unfortunately, that's just basically pieces of paper at the moment. Nobody passes any marks. It can be ignored if it was by superpowers, and it isn't right. But hopefully, in the world, we can see peace in 2026. Thank you.